The imposition of tariffs by the Trump administration has many supporters and detractors converging on the issue. What is not discussed is that there are several trade theories that examine the impact of tariffs on trade, particularly those that focus on factor endowments, trade policies, and market structures. The key theories that analyze tariffs include: 1. The Heckscher-Ohlin Model and Stolper-Samuelson theorem. The HO model predicts that tariffs on imported goods benefit domestic producers in industries that use the country's abundant factor. The Stolper-Samuelson theorem, an extension of the HO model, states that tariffs protect the production of import-competing goods, raising the income of the owners of the scarce factor while harming consumers and industries dependent on imports. 2. The Specific Factors Model, also known as the Ricardo-Wiener model. Tariffs benefit specific industries that are protected but hurt sectors that rely on imports. In the short run, tariffs lead to income redistribution among domestic factors of production. 3. The New Trade Theory, developed by Paul Krugman in the 1970s and 1980s. Economies of scale and imperfect competition mean that tariffs can protect infant industries until they become competitive, lead to trade wars if other countries retaliate and increase prices for consumers, but benefit firms by reducing foreign competition. Strategic trade theory, developed by Brander and Spencer in the 1980s, suggests that governments can use tariffs and subsidies to support key industries, such as aerospace and semiconductors. This theory justifies protectionist policies in industries with high fixed costs and monopolistic competition. The gravity model of trade illustrates that tariffs act as a barrier to trade, reducing trade flows between countries. Higher tariffs, especially between geographically close countries, reduce bilateral trade volumes. In 2025, President Donald Trump implemented significant tariffs targeting imports from Canada, Mexico, China, and the European Union. These measures aimed to bolster domestic industries, address trade imbalances, and enhance national security. Analyzing these actions through various international trade theories provides insight into their potential impacts. Let's delve into the Heckscher-Ohlin Model and the Stolper-Samuelson theorem to analyze the Trump administration's tariffs. The administration imposed 25% tariffs on imports from Canada and Mexico and 10% on Chinese goods, with the intent to protect U.S. manufacturing and reduce trade deficits. According to the HO model, the U.S., being capital abundant, typically imports labor-intensive goods from countries like China and Mexico. Imposing tariffs on these imports disrupts this pattern, potentially leading to inefficiencies. The Stolper-Samuelson effect suggests that tariffs may benefit U.S. industries competing with imports by increasing domestic prices, thereby raising returns to the scarce factor, which is labor. However, they can harm consumers and sectors reliant on imported inputs due to higher costs. The agricultural sector faced increased input costs due to tariffs on Canadian potash, essential for fertilizers, prompting discussions on potential exemptions to mitigate adverse effects. Specific Factors Model, also known as Ricardo-Wiener, highlights the short-term effects of tariffs. Industries directly protected by tariffs, such as steel and aluminum, may experience short-term gains. Conversely, sectors dependent on these materials, like automotive manufacturing, could face increased production costs, leading to potential job losses. In this scenario, the winners are domestic steel and aluminum producers. On the other hand, the losers include industries reliant on these inputs and consumers facing higher prices. The administration's plan to extend tariffs to copper aims to nurture domestic production, but it raises concerns about increased costs for industries dependent on copper. New trade theory, as proposed by Paul Krugman, emphasizes the importance of economies of scale and product variety. Tariffs can disrupt global supply chains, affecting industries that benefit from economies of scale and a diverse range of inputs. This disruption may reduce the variety of products available to consumers and increase production costs. As a result, US consumers may face higher prices and reduced product variety as companies adjust to increased import costs. For example, the business community acknowledges the rationale behind tariffs, but expresses a preference for lower rates to maintain competitiveness and consumer choice, according to a report by nypost.com. Strategic trade theory, developed by Brander and Spencer, highlights the role of government intervention in key sectors. The administration's tariffs aim to protect and promote growth in strategic industries, such as metals and manufacturing, to enhance national security and economic independence. By imposing tariffs, the government seeks to reduce dependence on foreign suppliers for critical materials, thereby strengthening domestic industries. Commerce Secretary Howard Lutnick emphasized the necessity of domestic production for essential products like steel, aluminum, semiconductors, and pharmaceuticals to prevent reliance on foreign sources during critical time. Gravity model of trade. Higher tariffs increase trade costs, potentially reducing the volume of trade between the United States and its partners, even those geographically close like Canada and Mexico. Reduced trade volumes can lead to decreased economic growth and strained political relationships with key trading partners. The imposition of tariffs led to immediate announcements of counter-tariffs by the European Union and Canada, indicating potential declines in bilateral trade volumes. Applying these trade theories suggests that while the Trump administration's tariffs aim to protect domestic industries and enhance national security, they may also lead to increased production costs, higher consumer prices, disrupted supply chains, and strained international trade relationships. The long-term effectiveness of these tariffs in achieving their intended goals remains a subject of debate among economists and policymakers.